Hello, this is Sarita, and I'm here to help you understand the truth about who you are. So I just wanted to jump on today and make a quick video about something that's been happening to me over the last few months, and predominantly what happened to me yesterday in relation to the death program, which works in conjunction with the conditioning and the indoctrination, and in fact a mind control program that we are holding around the subject of aging and disease. So I have spoken about the death program in another video, and I will put a link to that up here so you can go and look at it if you haven't seen it. But in a very quick nutshell for such a massive subject, basically we are holding a deep inverted matrix program that has been handed down ancestrally through cellular memory for thousands of years, which is a form of kind of mind control and indoctrination from a nefarious agenda to make us believe in death and annihilation. So in other words, to make us believe the opposite, the antithesis of who we truly are, which is infinite, eternal, multidimensional beings. And obviously, energy can never die. It just transmutes, changes, reorganizes itself. And basically, we are made of thermodynamic, infinite energy source, and so therefore can never die. But we have such a strong belief in this death program, in annihilation and separation and the fears that come from it, that we hold this kind of inherent trauma around that subject matter within the body vessel. And this makes us susceptible and more easily influenced by those outside of ourselves that wish to control us. And what happens when one has a very strong belief in the death program, in the idea of not just that we can die, but for many people in the idea that nothing happens to them after death, that really is kind of the end, that all matter finishes and there's nothing beyond the matter. What happens is it's such an uncomfortable, if you like, lie that they are holding within them. And it's a lie because it's the antithesis of the truth of who we are. So when you hold a lie like that within your body vessel, what happens is it kind of rubs against your purity and your truth, and it creates this kind of inner friction and tension and discomfort. And so when people are very entrenched in the fear of death, what happens is that discomfort causes them to seek reassurance and validation outside of themselves, outside of the body vessel, and to put their power and their beliefs and to follow the guidance of things or people or institutions outside of themselves that can offer some kind of solace or magic pill against death. And we've seen this really rising up with the whole COVID extravaganza, because obviously what that did was it sent billions of people into a tailspin that they were going to die, and just by looking and being in the vicinity of one another, they were all going to kill each other as well. So there was all of this kind of deeply traumatizing play out of this ingrained belief in the death program. And the reason that the death program is just an inverted matrix program is because those who have nefarious intentions use it to control us. Because the minute you abdicate your own responsibility and you give your power to someone else, thinking that they can fix you with a magic injection or by following horrific guidelines or rules or whatever, And we've been doing this since the dawn of time in various ways. The minute you abdicate your power, you are no longer a sovereign being. And what that does is within the body vessel, and the body vessel houses the soul and the energy of who you are, because you abdicate your power, you basically offer yourself up in a way like a sacrifice to something outside of yourself. And you create fissures and ruptures within the body vessel. And that means that these nefarious agendas and, if you like, entities can come into the body vessel and siphon your consciousness, siphon your mind, siphon your beliefs, siphon your thoughts, and can control you, okay? So that's why the death program is used. And it's a bit more complicated with the death program because it also goes into the whole idea of reincarnation and what that means and how we can transcend that. And I'm not talking about the law of cause and effect, which is a very real law. I'm talking about the traps that can come with reincarnation if you're not sufficiently sovereign and self-aware. So that's the death program, okay? And obviously the death program goes hand in hand with the program of aging. And this is what has been coming up to face me in the last few months and what I wanted to share with you. So what's been happening to me is I have noticed over the last 3 months that suddenly my eyesight began to deteriorate very quickly. Now I'm going to be 50 at the end of the year. And this was happening so quickly that I ended up talking about it with some of my friends. And the more of my friends that I spoke to, the more I realized it was happening to people who were almost at exactly the same age as me. And obviously many of us have friends who are the same age as us because, you know, we carry them through our lives. So I really noticed there was this correlation. And for ages, I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, oh, you know, maybe that happens when you're about to reach 50 and perhaps I should grow old gracefully. And I'm very happy to be graceful in my accumulating years because I'm actually getting happier and happier with every year that passes. So I don't really have a problem with that. And I think what happened to me is I basically abdicated my sovereignty around this subject and I went into a kind of dwell or a dreamscape, or I was under some kind of spell or illusion, a nefarious spell or illusion, which I now know is related to the death program, where I just took it as a matter of course that at my age, my eyesight would start to deteriorate. And looking back on this now, of course, it was so easy to fall into this spellbinding process. Because if you think about it, this is a program related to the death program. And obviously it's just one, if you like, algorithm within that program. But basically imagine that around the world there are millions or billions of people who are all reaching 50, and there's a program, or if you like, an archetypal energy that holds this memory, you could call it a memory complex system or a momentum of energy, which is so massive and all encompassing and has such huge momentum that it just carries with it in like a kind of huge wave everybody who's turning 50, and they all start to realize that their eyesight is deteriorating. And obviously I just went along with that, and I was just kind of half asleep, and I started to borrow my husband's glasses because he's like 52 and he's been wearing glasses for like 2.5, 3 years. And the more I wore glasses and the more I abdicated myself to this program, the quicker my eyesight was deteriorating, and it was just so shocking for me. So what I've realized is that, well, I realised this because I spoke to a friend of mine, and she said to me, Sarita, I wish I'd never started wearing glasses. I should have sorted it out right at the beginning. And there was something that she said to me, so bless you, Liz, if you're listening to this video. There was something in those words that she said to me, and I suddenly just woke up. And I was like, oh my God, I've been completely lazy here. And I was just carried along on a momentum wave without even realizing it. And it was like I woke up from this spell and I just went, wait a minute, Sarita. You've got all your tools. You know what you're talking about. How on earth did you get carried along with this and believe it to be true? And obviously your cells, epigenetics, are literally responding to your beliefs, the atmosphere that they believe themselves to be within. So I was telling my cells that they were in an atmosphere of moving into old age and blindness, basically. And they were responding accordingly and very, very quickly because we are creator consciousness. And also because manifesting and manifestations are speeding up. Okay, so yeah, so basically I suddenly woke up from this spell and I realized that I was at a choice point here. And then and there, I made a choice. I made a decision to never wear a pair of glasses again. And I wasn't going to allow my eyes to age. And I was going to find whatever methods it would take to restore my eyesight to 20/20 vision. And obviously, I've got a lot of methods up my sleeve. And I'll talk about one of those methods, if this is happening to you, that you can use in a minute. But what I noticed immediately is as I made that decision, and I'm now about 36 hours down the road from that decision, my eyesight started to improve immediately just from making the conscious free will choice to heal my eyes. And the thing is, you've got to remember that the highest law in our universe is the law of free will. Everything is about your intentional free will choices because we are creators. Whether you're doing that consciously or unconsciously, you are a creator. So obviously I stood up and I made this conscious choice. And I'm going to tell you here and now, it's still very uncomfortable. I'm in a very uncomfortable place. So what happened is after I made the decision, you know, I was reading a book or I was looking at my phone or my laptop. And what was happening immediately was that it was kind of blurry and difficult and hurting my eyes. And I just stood my ground. And it was bringing me a level of discomfort. I really had to stand, if you like, in the void, in the liminal space and say, which way am I going to walk? And this kind of hurts and it's uncomfortable because the easy option is to go with the momentum, stick a pair of glasses on and be able to read without any eye pain and ease. But I chose the other one. I chose to stand in the unfamiliar and the discomfort. And the words were blurry and I couldn't see properly, but I just stood my ground. And what started to happen was things started to come into a sharper focus. And I was playing with this. I was moving the book further away, closer to me, doing all of these kind of things. And over the whole course of yesterday, I noticed that my eyesight was already improving in like 24 hours. And I think this is really important to understand. It's not easy or comfortable to make a conscious choice that goes against the momentum of the inverted matrix and the masses, basically. And I know that so many of you have stood your ground over the last 2 or is it 3 years now. You stood your ground resolute in what you believed in, and it was really, really super hard, and you had issues and problems with friends and family and all of that kind of stuff. But it stood you in good stead, and you're feeling more sovereign now. And so it's uncomfortable, and I know it's probably going to be uncomfortable for a little while or a few months, but I'm going to hold with my decision and I'm going to heal my eyesight. And I don't know if any of you remember this, it depends how long you've been following me for, but I made a decision about 2 years ago to regrow my thyroid gland. And let me tell you, I've done it, and it was an uncomfortable journey, and I had to really believe in myself. But now I feel great, you know, and that sets me up for being able to now stand my ground with this eyesight business. And I'm just going to tell you quickly now, another way that I'm going to heal my eyesight is using the coupling protocol, where you couple your eyes to a higher gauge symmetry state of the vacuum of space, and then you imprint them with clear sight. Now, if that makes sense to you, it's because you've done my Art of Intention recorded course. And the reason I'm using that technique, which I created from inspiration from the work of William Tiller, is because one of my first students on that course was wearing glasses for a long time, and she healed her eyesight in 7 days using that technique. So obviously that's a gift to me now. I taught her that, she taught me that back, and now I'm sharing it with you. So I'm going to use my art of intention technique, and I'm going to stand my ground with my free will, and I'm going to, see myself with clear sight. So if you want to do that course, I will put a link to it in the description box below. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you want to do the course, then please do go ahead and try it. But if you don't want to do a course, frankly, any meditation that allows you to stand in your sovereignty and in your power and feel your body and what your body, the consciousness of your eyes are telling you and things like that, is going to assist you if you want to heal your eyesight. And obviously there's, 400 meditations on my channel for free that will help you do that. So that all being said, as I stood in this resolute decision, I was thinking about aging and the death program and how the death program is used to control all of us. And I was thinking that if we want to create this new earth that everybody's talking about, one by one, we need to step out of these massively ingrained fear-based programs that are splitting pieces of our souls off. We need to just stand up to the mark and start choosing another way. And we have to keep choosing into the truth that we are conscious creators and that we are infinite, multidimensional beings made of unconditional love, and that miracles are a moment-by-moment occurrence, and we have the potential and the power to make the impossible possible, okay? And I think the more of us that can do these simple exercises, so I'm using my sight, but obviously, there are so many different things that you could heal within yourself, which go against the inverted matrix mind control programs. Every time we stand up, we're doing it for ourselves, so we benefit. Every time we stand up, and I stand in a free will choice, like David and Goliath, and know that even though I'm the David and there's this massive Goliath momentum, that I can do that if my arrow, my choice, my free will is straight and true and coming from my heart. I know that I can defeat the Goliath, and I can stand in my sovereign power and make changes. Because how would this world be if people stopped making assumptions that they were going to age, become frail, diseased, that their minds wouldn't work properly, and eventually they were going to die like victims of their circumstances? How would it be if more and more of us stepped out of that program and began to work with the truth of who we are? So I think we all have to kind of step up into this responsibility. So this is what I'm going to do for the next month. I'm going to do exactly like I did with my thyroid. I'm going to every day do a meditation. I'm going to do the art of intention. I'm going to work with my eyes. And then at the end of a month, this is what I did with my thyroid, I just surrendered it to the divine, knowing it would be fixed. And it will be fixed. And I will never have to wear glasses again, which is a relief because they are a real pain. So I hope that this video has been helpful to you. And if you are dealing with a similar issue to me, or if you're dealing with another issue, which is age-related or death-related, really look into that and see if, like me, you were just kind of asleep at the wheel of your own life. And if there is a potential for you to put your hands back on the steering wheel and choose your path, your road that you want to go down. So let me know what you think about this in the comments. And yes, I hope this has been helpful, and I'm wishing you all love on your healing journey, whatever that may be. And thank you so much for listening to me.